Next, I'm going to show you how you can use a tool called SafeAssign. This is a tool in Blackboard that can help detect potential plagiarism on papers. I'm going to show you how you can create a Dropbox for draft papers, how you can use or edit the settings for an existing Dropbox for final papers, or you can directly submit a paper for a SafeAssign report. So first, you can, and it is recommended, that you could create an assignment or a Dropbox for all draft papers for the students to submit to before they submit their final paper. They can use that as a learning tool as they check citations and make sure they are citing things properly and things such as that. So to do that, in the content area of the course, you'll hover your mouse over Assessments, then click on Assignment. Then you'll type in the name, any instructions if you need them to see them, and then points possible, you can enter 0, and then you'll click on this Submission Details link, and that's going to expand. And since this is for draft papers, students will probably submit more than one paper. So instead of a single attempt, you'll click on that box and click Unlimited Attempts. Then below that are the plagiarism tool options. So you can check the submissions for plagiarism, potential plagiarism using SafeAssign. We recommend that you check the second box to allow students to view the SafeAssign Originality Report. That could be a communication tool and a learning tool for them. And then because this is a Dropbox that will be for draft papers, click the bottom option to exclude the submissions from the database of SafeAssign. If you don't click that, once the student submits the final paper, then that could it will see the draft paper and will look 100% plagiarized. And actually, I'm going to go up to the top here and call this a Dropbox as well. It's because even though Blackboard calls it an assignment, I am still used to using the term Dropbox. All right, so here I've checked my plagiarism tools. It's a draft Dropbox, so I'm going to exclude submissions from the database. And then I can click Submit. So now at the bottom, I've already created one because I've submitted a paper to it, so you can view that Originality Report. And then I've got the Dropbox I just created. And then you can move it to anywhere in the course on this content pane that you like. By hovering your mouse to the left of this item, you'll see the square made of arrows. Click, and then you can drag it to wherever you like in the course. Then to view submissions to this draft papers Dropbox, you won't click on the Dropbox itself. You'll click on the Needs Grading link. And then you'll see the name of the student and the name of the Dropbox. Here's one for draft papers. And then you'll click on the student name. Then you'll see the paper. And then if a rubric is attached, then you would click on this small down arrow to reveal the rubric. But in this case, I'm going to look above it because that's where I can see the SafeAssign report is located. And I can see there's a 100% overall match. And even if it's a low percentage, even if it's 9%, that's not an indication that there truly is plagiarism. You will need to view the Originality Report and see what is, it could be a citation that SafeAssign hit on, so you'll have to review each individual match. And to do that, you'll click on the word SafeAssign, and then you'll click on the button to view Originality Report. And then it will expand into a new window, and you'll see anything that has been found to be similar to another item in the SafeAssign database will be highlighted. In this case, I did pull this paper from the internet, I must admit, and it's just from one site. But if there was more than one match, they would all be numbered, and then it would be highlighted in different colors, one for each number. And then you could read and determine if it truly is possible plagiarism or if it's just more of a citation or some common wording that it hit on. And then once you're done, you can close that window, and then it'll go back, and you'll go back to your paper that's in the Dropbox. And then you can provide feedback to the student. If you entered a 0, it's out of 0, so it will not affect the grade. And that's how that you view the Originality report for drafts. I'm just going to click Exit in this case. Now, if you choose to do that, you may want to set one of the existing Dropboxes for a final paper and then also have it enabled so that the paper will go through SafeAssign. And to do that, you'll click on Content, and then you go to the session where the final Dropbox is located. And then you'll hover over the title of that Dropbox and click on the down arrow or that chevron that appears, and then click on Edit. Then you'll scroll, and in this case, SafeAssign was already enabled, but I'm going to uncheck it as if it weren't, because at this time, for the AL courses, SafeAssign is not enabled for any of the final submission Dropboxes. So you would scroll down, you would click on Submission Details, and then here, under the Plagiarism tool, you would click Check Submission for Plagiarism, allow students to view SafeAssign Originality Report, and you would leave unchecked to exclude the submissions. So now for that final paper, you want that submission to go into the database. And then you just click Submit. Now there may be times if you choose not to create a Dropbox for draft papers or to enable SafeAssign for a final paper Dropbox, that once the term begins and you get a paper and you're just a little concerned and you would like to run it through SafeAssign. And you can do that. You can submit it to SafeAssign yourself. And that's called a direct submission. So to do a direct submission to SafeAssign, you'll click on Course Tools, and then you'll click on SafeAssign. And then you'll click on Direct Submit. And then here you'll see a record of any paper that you submitted directly to SafeAssign in the past, all here. And then to submit a new paper, you'll click on Submit Paper. And then you can choose to click and submit it as a draft. And then you can click to Upload File. Now you could copy and paste into this text box the content of the paper, or you could download the paper from Blackboard and then upload it to SafeAssign. So I'm going to choose Upload by clicking on Choose File. Then I'll find it to wherever I saved it on my computer. And then click Submit. And now here at the very bottom is the date that I submitted it. That's the submission I just did. The line, the blue line, is an indication that the Originality report is not yet completed. But in my experience, it takes less than 5 minutes for a report to be generated. And then once it is generated, I'm just going to go to the to one of the other ones that have not 0% and not 100%. Okay, so here's one for 7%. I can click on the green check mark. That's the SafeAssign report. And then I can see anything that is not highlighted. It was not flagged by SafeAssign. I can see there are 2 different citations or 2 different areas, 2 different locations where there was a match. It's number 1, number 2, 2 different sources. And then if I scroll down, I can see here's number 1, and I can see that it's a quotation, so that doesn't concern me. And then I can see my number 2 is a works cited reference. So neither one I would consider plagiarism. So in this case, the 7% doesn't concern me. And that is how you can view the direct submit. And from that Originality report, I'm going to go back into it really quickly. is you can click this print button. So you could print it if you wanted to, or print it and save it as a PDF, and then you could email it and discuss it with the student if needed. And that's SafeAssign, creating a draft Dropbox and editing a final Dropbox for SafeAssign, or do this direct submission.